This is Sport Talk
with your host, Zach Mason.
All right. Hello. This is the Sport Talk with Zach Mason. My name is Zach Mason, and this isn't usually what y'all are used to seeing. Y'all are used to seeing me in front of a camera in my room or whatever. But now we have Jared and Zach. If y'all don't know where I've been, I actually moved to Orlando to get a degree in sportscasting, and they are in the same program as me. Sorry, I just moved the mic away from my mouth. But they're a few months ahead of me, but we're here just to talk about sports and talk about what's going on in the sports world. So I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves and just say a little bit about why you're here and what got you into being a sportscaster.
Word, yeah. So my name's Jared. Originally from Boston, Massachusetts, so I'm a kind of everything Boston sports guy as far as like my fandom. But I was in the Army for 4 years. So I was living out near Seattle, so I kind of like grew a fondness for Seattle sports, the Mariners, not so much the Seahawks. I lived out in Cali, in Sacramento. I kind of like the Kings. But anyway, my fandom spreads all over the place. But what brought me here was I had a GI Bill from the Army. And so I can use that to get a degree. You have like 36 months or whatever you get. And they'll pay for the school and you get like a housing allotment. But long story short, I've been out of the Army for 8 years and I was taking communications at a community college with this in mind specifically, like sports podcasting, sports radio. And then Dan Patrick being like a hero of mine, I stumbled into this school and started seeing the success of the students. Yeah. And just here we are,
Yeah.
That's how I found myself here.
What about you?
I'm the old Zach in the group. I'm from Columbia, but my parents are from the two coldest parts of this country, Chicago and Buffalo. So, diehard Chicago fan, except for the White Sox. But, it is what it is. Why I'm here, I just grew up. I love sports. Always wanted to do play-by-play for the Cubs. Don't know if that'll happen, but here I am just learning the business, trying to do what I can.
Yeah. I mean, everybody in this program came from different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, we all love sports. And really what got me into it is I graduated from high school. I've always wanted to be, like, I always idolized, never say I've been, like, a real fan of Stephen A. and, what's his name? It just left my mind. The one who just left First Take. Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman.
Yeah, Max Kellerman.
Yeah. But yeah, I just watched them all the time. I watched them, Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, Undisputed. And I was like, I just want to be an ESPN analyst. I just want to analyze sports and watch it and just talk about it and just talk about sports for a living. And really, I kind of strayed away from that just because people are always like, there's no money in that business. I was like, really, there is, but we just haven't hit gold yet. But I went to South Alabama for a semester. Didn't do well there, and just because it wasn't what I wanted to do, I was in kinesiology and like physical therapy and all that kind of stuff, and I was just sitting there and I was like, this isn't what I want to do, this isn't what I want to be a part of, and this isn't like my future. So I left South. I wasn't in school for a while, and then I went away from that, straight away from it, and then I was like, you know what, it was right when COVID hit, and then this is when I started this, and I was like, I'm going to start a podcast, get where I'm going to go, and then just see what happens from there. Now, I'm not saying that what I was doing was high quality or anything. I have a camera and I got from Best Buy, and I just sat in front of my computer and just talked about my local high school. And that's really what this show is based on. But I wanted to always broaden it. It's hard to talk in front of a camera by yourself, and y'all know that because y'all been doing project. It's awful. And that's really, I talked to Zach about this a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I want to get this started because you guys love talking about sports. Like, we went out to that dinner a few weeks ago, and y'all just talked about sports the whole time. I said, this is like the perfect opportunity. Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to get this started and get in front of a camera and just talk about sports, maybe once a week, once every other week. I don't know, but I just wanted to start this because I know y'all have a lot to talk about. Y'all know, you know a lot more about it than me just because you're a vet in sports. But I mean, yeah, that's really why I wanted to start this, and I wanted to get in front of a camera, just talk about sports with you guys, and that's why we're here. So it may not stay the Sport Talk with Zach Mason. It may switch up. I may switch up the name. I'm just going to keep it as the Sport Talk with Zach Mason just because for easy purposes, just for right now. And then I was telling them afterwards, we'll figure it out, get whatever we need to naming and branding wise. But yeah, what's going on in the sports world? What do y'all got to talk about?
So, man, a lot of things. Well, obviously, I know everybody was locked into college football yesterday. That was huge. I think for me, the first thing I want to talk about is just seeing the amount of fans in the stands.
Oh my God,
man, it's awesome.
The Virginia Tech,
the COVID Bowl.
Oh my goodness, that video. Did y'all see it on social media? The video of Virginia Tech and just the fans in the stand. What was the song playing? I don't even remember the song.
Interstate, or was it Interstate Man by Metallica?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. I think it was Interstate Man. I was just telling Zach, there was probably 7 or 8 separate fistfight videos, not from Virginia Tech, but just all across the board. And between that and all these signs at College Game Day and the guy dumping a tub of mayo on himself, it was just like, man, we're back. Football's back. You know, it has that vibe back.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love seeing just the stands full, because that's really what college football is all about, and that's why I fell in love with college. And I had a dream of going to play college football, but it just wasn't for me. I just decided not to. I wouldn't say I fell out of love with it. I just felt like my passion was somewhere else. But that's why I'm here. And yeah, I love just seeing full stands and just like when that big play happens, you see the camera shake because everybody's going crazy in the stadium.
It's a vibe. It really is. And you think about it, there's really no other sport like college football to put fans in the stands. Like the Big House has like 100,000 seats or whatever. There's no professional football stadium. I think the Cowboys have the most. And I'm not sure exactly. I'm not going to say, but it's probably 80. The Big House is bigger than any of them, and then SEC football, you know, is sold out every Saturday. It doesn't matter who they're playing. So it's just crazy. It was cool to see yesterday, and it, you know, I'm more of an NFL guy, but I do love college football, so I'm really excited about next weekend. But I really enjoyed yesterday just seeing the fans in the stands.
Yeah.
Like the crowds were rocking. You know, UCF a couple nights ago, that game they were down 21-0 on ESPN. They came back and won, and the crowd was going crazy. Like you said, the camera was shaking and stuff. I'm like, this is awesome. I miss this, you know?
Yeah. I don't really know how they're doing it with like COVID and all that stuff. Like, do y'all know if like they're, like, is it by state to how like the capacity and all that? Okay. That's what I thought.
I think in some states you have to like prove you're vaccinated to go to the game. In others you don't. So it's different, but it definitely varies by state.
Yeah. Do the players have to be vaccinated?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't know if they have to be, but I'm sure just like the NFL, like
pass
they have
a
to
negative
operate way differently and stuff. Like I know if you're vaccinated in the NFL, you don't have to wear a mask indoors. Where if you aren't vaccinated, you still have to wear a mask indoors and stuff. So they said that like the media is not allowed to ask if people are vaccinated, but then just look at who's wearing a mask around and who's not. And it's like most teams are around like 90% vaccinated. So like they're like the Bucs apparently are 100% vaccinated. So
I saw that too.
So the league's definitely like predominantly 9 out of 10 guys you would say are vaccinated, but if the one guy is like with the Vikings is Kirk Cousins, you know, that's your quarterback, you lose him, you're in trouble. So it could definitely have an impact on the year. I don't know how long he would be out if he tested positive. It would all depend on symptoms and whatever, all that. How many, if he has to test negative twice and then still he has to quarantine. There's all kinds of rules around it, but it's going to affect someone's season, I'm sure, you know.
Yeah, back in my hometown, my brother and my sister, they got COVID, and they're not letting, at her school, they're not letting them come back until they get like a blood test or something. Like, y'all know what I'm talking about, that blood test?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
It's getting wild out there for sure.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's state by state, so it's like hard to keep up with, especially as like a college football fan, college sports fan, or a pro sports fan. It's like you got, you know, every state's covered pretty much in all those sports, so it's hard to keep up with like what's going on where. It's wild.
That's gonna be one thing that I want to see this coming up draft is, are they going to take vaccination into consideration? They're obviously not going to do that publicly, but like, are they going to draft the number 1 overall guy based off of if he's vaccinated or not? You know what I mean? Like, if he's not vaccinated, like, they're going to be like, I don't know.
Well, they came at Urban Meyer for making those comments, basically saying that he kind of did take vaccination and then Belichick did the opposite and said that, you know, I had no factor. He's going to say what he has to say. I think that you'd be crazy not to take it into account, you know, like if Mac Jones and Cam Newton were tied, which from all the reports I hear that's not the case at all. That Mac pretty much he won that job, but you know, if you don't take that into account, I think you're talking about winning a Super Bowl. You know,
Yeah.
like of course you're taking everything into account. You know, the guy's lifestyle, whatever, and that's all part of it. You know, so like obviously if guys are neck and neck, you know, in a situation with the Vikings, like Kirk Cousins is clearly their best option, so they're gonna have to ride it out.
Exactly.
With that, you know, but with Cam, the Pats, it's kind of a segue. We can talk about that a little, but with Cam, you know, if he was slipping and Mac was starting to steal a job, I think you're crazy not to take it into account. You know, but.
Yeah, I'm never gonna question what Belichick has to say, but ever. I will never question Belichick. I don't care. I'm never gonna go to a Belichick press conference just because.
Well, yeah, that's not an ideal spot, and I think Tom Curran, who is a Patriots beat writer, he was on Dan Patrick last week, and Dan was messing with him, like, "What are you gonna ask Bill? What are you gonna?" And it's like everyone knows, like, you're not getting anything out of him.
No.
I don't want to tell you ever. It's just not. So they were kind of joking, like everyone should just start asking him yes or no questions, and maybe he'll respond better to them, even though they're horrible interview questions. Just see, like, look, like. Was that a factor? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to talk. He
doesn't care. Like we were doing an assignment. We had to watch a Belichick press conference, and it was for Mac's class. Y'all knew Mac, and he said, "Listen, you're gonna have to do what you can out of this, but we're gonna watch a Belichick press conference." I said, "Oh no, man." But yeah, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna question what Belichick has to say, but like. Even if he's not vaccinated, obviously he hasn't said anything about it, but like you just have to look at the long haul, like week 12, 13, like if Matt gets, or if one of them gets COVID, the other one has to step in, and now you're going to have Jared Stidham as the backup. Like I'd rather have Cam Newton or Mac Jones as a backup. So it kind of threw me off.
It's tough. It really is. And I think what it boiled down to was just that Cam is such a locker room presence, and then you have a rookie quarterback starting, which is a rare thing. I'm shocked too, honestly. I'm all about Mac Jones, but I didn't think I didn't think Bill would actually start a rookie week 1 of an NFL season.
He didn't even start Tom Brady as a rookie.
He must have looked incredible. Really,
yeah.
He had to have. And I don't know. Like I think it's like Cam was such a locker room presence. So many guys really liked him, and with a rookie quarterback, you think like with a guy like Cam in the locker room, like the moment Mac makes one little mistake, it starts this whole like, oh, let's just play Cam now. And with him cut. That's not, I can say, look, Mac's the future. Yeah, but I agree. Cam obviously would be the best option at backup. Stidham, we're not going anywhere with Stidham.
Yeah, no.
Can we win games with Cam? Like, yeah. He has a unique quarterback style, but you can win with it, obviously. He went 15-1 in a season, 5 years ago?
Exactly.
It wasn't that long ago.
And he should have went undefeated. I remember that season. It was it was to the Falcons, I'm pretty sure, out of everybody. But, yeah,
division opponent. That's what it is. Like it's like the Jets. Like back when the Patriots were on their dynasty days, the Jets would always catch us once. We'd go 1-1 against the Jets every year. They would go 3-13, but they would catch us once every year.
But I mean, man, I don't know. I think that they should have kept Cam, honestly.
I mean, it's tough. I think that what I mentioned is probably the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely there probably isn't a better backup quarterback in the NFL.
No, yeah.
And he's probably a better option to start than a handful of teams, I would say.
Yeah.
He wasn't great. He didn't show much last year, but then again, you saw him in the preseason. He went 9 for 10 in one of those games. If his legs are still there at all, he's definitely still a goal line threat. He's a threat to take it outside and get into the end zone anytime. Tough to tackle, even if you get your hands on him.
He was still getting into that system. Like he was only 1 year in the system.
Yeah.
I saw the preseason stats, and Mac Jones played 107 snaps, and Cam only played 39.
Yeah,
and he was a starter.
He didn't get a lot. Yeah, I think they only left him out for that last game. I think it was 1 series.
Yeah.
He only got 1 series, and people don't talk about it, but he had 600 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns last year. I would have taken that from my running back.
Exactly.
But 600 yards isn't crazy, but 12 touchdowns is significant for your starting running back. Really, I would take that. I look back to LeGarrette Blount, and I thought he was a great goal line running back. He would 10 touchdowns a year. So yeah, he definitely is still a weapon, and it's a tough call. It really is. I like you said, I'm not going to question Bill, and I do eventually obviously think it was the right move.
Yeah. With
Cam being his age 32, 33, and Mac being 23. That's the obvious.
Yeah.
But you give Mac the keys, you have to hope that he can handle that, because that's a big role. Obviously, Cam was the one who took over for Brady, but in theory, Mac really is. He's
Mhm.
the next one to get the keys to the franchise. Cam never really had that. He got an opportunity. You know,
Yeah.
he never really was given the actual. Even I felt like he was benched a few times last year. He didn't have much of a leash last year. You know,
Mhm.
They were ready to bench him last year, so it's tough. You know, it's tough to question Bill. But
Yeah.
I get it.
I think another factor is like he's going from Nick Saban to Bill Belichick, so it's not really much of a program switch there, if you know what I mean. Like they're both lockdown programs. Like you're going to be working every day. Don't look back. Don't look at what's ahead of you. Just work on tomorrow. And I think that's what Bill. I think Bill took that into account too, just of what he came from out of college compared to what Cam Newton's been used to with Ron Rivera and all of his other coaches. Rivera. I think that just popped into my head too about like just he's already used to being in that sort of program with Nick Saban, so I think that is what Bill also took to account, that he's not so nervous as he would be for another rookie quarterback. But
it's all about like with Mac, just the way it was with Brady. It's all about like ball distribution. Like take the snap, see who's open, and get rid of the ball quickly. And that's what Mac does. The same thing that Brady does. It's different from like a guy like Justin Fields, like the Bears got. I'm not Justin Fields. Obviously, the talent's like out of this world, you know. But like in the system that the Patriots have put together, a guy like Mac Jones seems to just fit perfectly, or a guy like Joe Burrow, or a guy like that. You know, not a guy that gets outside the pocket. Like it was fun watching Cam last season, but different, you know, from what we've been watching for 20 years. So.
He's not used to. He just wasn't used to Bill Belichick's offense, but he got used to it. Like what Cam said on the I Am Athlete podcast like a few months ago, he said that he's like one of the best 30. He thinks he's one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. So where do you think he would go?
I agree. Like I was just saying, he would either be like the highest end backup or a lower end starter
Exactly.
in the NFL. You just brought up Ron Rivera. I think Fitzmagic is kind of locked in there. But Washington's an option. He's played with Rivera before. I don't know who their backup is. I think he got some time last year, and he was actually pretty good. I can't remember his name, but
Heineke. I think Heineke.
Yeah, he was a smaller school guy. I remember him last year though. He had that. You know how fantasy football is. Everyone wants to rush to pick him up for like a week or whatever it was.
It was funny.
Desperation.
But yeah, I was seeing stuff about him playing for the Cowboys, like just backing up Dak because of his shoulder.
Yeah.
He hurt his shoulder in the mini camp, I think, because I remember they were talking about it on Hard Knocks. So I was like, I mean, Cam could go to Dallas for a year and just help out Dak because he's still coming off that leg injury. He hasn't played a game. I mean, he's played preseason, but he hasn't played like the full 4 quarters, coming off of his terrible leg injury. And then he has a shoulder injury coming into the season. So, I mean, I think Cam would actually get playing time. Even if they signed him, like he would still.
At some point, I think he would too. It would be a smart move, and I think he fits the Cowboys' offense more than he fit New England.
Exactly. Mike McCarthy and.
Yeah, it's different. Mike McCarthy is, I think they have a good line. I just saw that, I think it was on my way here. I saw Adam Schefter tweeted that Zach Martin got ruled out for Thursday against the Bucs. So, they were saying he's like a 6-time All-Pro, and he's been in the league for 7 years. So
Zach Martin's real deal.
Yeah, probably the best guard in the league. You know, so that's a big loss with Dak. Hasn't played in a while. He's probably shaking in his boots over there. Yeah, that doesn't help.
Let's go over a little bit of college football of what happened this weekend. Obviously, Georgia beat Clemson last night 10-3. Wasn't anything that we thought it was going to be. We did know that. What's his name? DJ. I can never pronounce his last name.
I tried.
Yeah. I just see him as Dr. Pepper guy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
making money as a college quarterback.
Yeah.
Stupid. But what did y'all think of that game? Obviously, not a lot of offense. Couldn't see much from the quarterback, but I mean, there were still lights of like things to see from that game, just from those 4 quarters.
Biggest game of the week.
Obviously the biggest game of the week. A very defensive game. I think Georgia's defense looks terrifying. I think they are very good.
As
Oh my goodness.
as a South Carolina Gamecock fan, I don't want to play. I never want to play Georgia. They've been scary for years. But that one pick, that's what changed the game. That's all it takes is your one touchdown.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I think DJ was just like under pressure a little bit, just because he's having to fill in the number 1 overall pick that's been the starter for the last 3 years. He won a national championship as a freshman, Trevor Lawrence, and I mean, I think the pressure got to him. I don't think he realized it, but I think the pressure was just getting to him, and playing up against a defense like a defense like that in week 1 is just
there's pro players all over that defense. So he's seeing a speed that he might never have seen in practice. That, and not, obviously not saying that the Clemson defense isn't good either, but there's that game speed. Game speed's a totally different thing. And, you got to see it, get used to it, and like you said, I think it got to him a little bit. And in programs like Alabama or Clemson, it's easy to get lost. Mac Jones was sitting behind Tua and Jalen Hurts, 2 years ago, and now he started for Alabama, national championship, starts for New England. Yep. It's crazy, things change really quickly.
Speaking of Alabama, Bryce Young threw for 4 touchdowns in his debut. He's 20 years old.
Yeah, I'm hearing everywhere that he pretty much won the Heisman already.
Basically.
No, he was pretty much, yeah. There was
ridiculous.
He stood on his head, like head and shoulders above anybody else we saw this weekend for sure. He was the best player this weekend.
Yeah, they got, what is it? They got like 3 running backs. I know they got Trey Sanders, and then they got 2 others. I only know Trey Sanders because I played against him. I was telling you about that the other day, or yesterday. I played against that joker, and he was 15 years old running through seniors. 14. Yeah. Oh, no, he was probably 14. He didn't even have his permit yet, dude. I mean, like, that joker was running through seniors, like 18 years old, about to graduate from high school, and this joker was coming out of middle school just trucking them, making them look like little girls. And then he went from Port St. Joe to IMG, and he graduated the same year as me, and that joker's the same age as me, and he's probably making millions or something. I don't even know if he's signed anywhere.
Yeah, but for IMG, like all those guys end up going D1.
Yeah, but I think he was like the number 2 recruit in the country, and then obviously he had to wait for his turn. And this year, I don't think he's starting, but I mean, like, he scored yesterday, and it was like they got him, 2 other running backs, and then Mechie, I don't know how you pronounce the receiver's name. And then they had one that didn't play just because Nick Saban didn't want to play him because of some.
Well, the receivers they put into the NFL the past like three years.
Yeah.
Crazy. Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle. Even they got Ruggs is on.
Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith. 4 or 5
number 1, number 2 receivers.
Yeah.
They weren't really known for their quarterbacks and receivers for all those years, and it's like all of a sudden now they are.
Yeah.
But it's because they're such a powerhouse program. They're just getting whoever they want.
Yeah. And they're schools that recruit better than Alabama. Like Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher, they recruit insane amount. I think it's just the program.
Yeah, it's got to be. The rings, they just speak for themselves. You don't really have to recruit when you're just winning chips nonstop.
Exactly.
Like Nick Saban or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah. But, I think Alabama's going to be good. Alabama is going to be insanely good. I think Georgia's right behind them.
I think Clemson's done for.
I don't think Clemson plays another ranked opponent the rest of the year.
Are you serious?
I read something about that.
They really don't.
They play another. They might. I think there's one that they were talking about might slip into the rankings.
Yeah.
At some point, but
it's not South Carolina.
No, but yeah, they're in the ACC. It's not the SEC.
It's hard.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
The SEC is it's insane. It's a next level, and now with Oklahoma and Texas coming aboard, it's even. It's a real part. Now it's basically like. The minor leagues for the NFL is what the SEC is. It's going to be hard to compete for any of those schools outside of that little bubble there.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard.
Yeah, I was really rooting for Clemson yesterday just because I'm a Florida guy, and I know that we're going to have to face Georgia here eventually. And just seeing what they had yesterday, man, I don't know. Because we're going to have to play them to get to the SEC championship, and that's just going to be a scary matchup. Yeah. I don't know.
Who do the Gators play? I know they won.
FAU, Florida Atlantic.
I saw he threw a couple picks. The starter threw a couple picks, and I was reading some stuff on Twitter, and people were already calling for him to lose the starting. I'm like, yeah, you guys won by a few scores. I wouldn't panic just yet. Yeah. But like you said, if you saw Georgia yesterday, that defense is absurd. You're wondering how you're going to put up points against them.
Yeah. Emery, I read something. He's like supposed to be one of the Heisman guys, and obviously he's came behind Felipe Franks, Kyle Trask, who was just a Heisman finalist.
Put up massive numbers
Yeah.
last year. The Bucs kind of stole him, I think.
Absolutely. I think once Tom Brady's gone, Kyle Trask is going to be ready. He's going to be better off than Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's a smart move. I mean, they're loaded. They have a good team built.
Yeah.
They have a good. That's why Tom went there. Their foundation is really good. And it's young.
Yeah.
Their defense is young, for the most part.
Devin White.
I feel like they're gonna have to. They'll pay Godwin, and they'll keep him around. He's gonna get big money after that. I think it's after this season. He's gonna be due a payday, so he's gonna get big money though. He's a weapon,
Yeah.
But they got weapons all over the place in that offense. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't see they're gonna be tough to beat in the NFC this year for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Florida. I think Florida's going to be okay. I think they got some talent. They got I can't remember his name. He was a receiver that played there last year, and I think he's back. I know he wore number 1. That's all I can remember. I can't remember his dadgum name, but Florida's got talent all around the board. It's just they haven't broken out into that star power yet. They all worked as a team last year, and that got them to like number 8, I think, in the nation. But I think Emery is coming out of 2 amazing starters that gave him a lot of knowledge. Felipe Franks, I think, is still playing, right? He's at Arkansas, I think.
Yeah,
I think he's at Arkansas, right?
I saw him at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's that. I feel like there was probably 3 quarterbacks that were in that Heisman talk. I remember he was one of them. The UCF quarterback, Gabriel, was another one. He threw a couple. I mean, they won. It was a great game, but he threw a couple picks, and one of them was brutal. The guy was open in the back. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but he was open in the back corner, and the cornerback was in. All he had to do was throw it over the cornerback and touchdown. He threw it right at him. I was like, man.
Was that the 100-yard pick six?
The 100-yard pick six. I could not believe he. I'm like, man, just put a little touch on that thing. But yeah, that was a tough. But like, it's a pressure. Everybody's like, now your name's in all over ESPN. This guy's in the Heisman watch. There was another quarterback too. I can't think of right now, but yeah, a couple guys just struck out this week. But it's week 1. We're quick to crown the Heisman after week. That's what I was joking about. We're quick to crown the Heisman after week 1, but is it going to be Bryce? Like maybe, but a lot of things are going to happen in the next 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, and that's what I hate the most about starting weeks of college football is like everybody just it's either the wrong rankings. Everybody puts them out too early, or just people overhype everything.
For sure.
Just like Oklahoma, I don't think Oklahoma's the number 2 team in the nation.
No,
I think Spencer Rattler is a great quarterback, but last year he was the starting quarterback last year, and they were unranked. And I don't know if they ever got in the rankings. I mean, like
no, I haven't looked at his numbers exactly, but I remember exactly. Like, I remember seeing he was the starter. I heard his name. And paying attention for him, but never really seen
exactly.
him. Never really saw much last year from him. So
we were watching the Oklahoma Tulane game yesterday, and it took me 30 minutes to realize that they were ranked number 2. I said, "Where in the world did they come from to get to number 2? What recruit did they get to make them all of a sudden the number 2 team in the nation?"
You got all these their best players, from last season that come into the NFL, and I can't really, I don't see it. I don't see it, man. I mean, maybe it may be ranked, but. Even
maybe
top
like
10.
top 15, top 10,
15,
but not number 2.
No,
Oh my God.
I don't see it either. Some of these teams in the SEC, they would power them.
Tulane almost came back. They set up that perfect onside kick, and then
that was
missed their
beautiful.
4th down.
Did you watch that game?
I didn't see that game.
It was a beautiful onside kick. He went this way, kicked it that way, right into a gap of 2 players, and they weren't ready for it.
The ball.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It
was
5-point game.
You gotta think that's like one of the most exciting things when it happens. When your team gets an onside kick, that's a huge story.
Yeah, because there's so many times it doesn't happen, and then it's a rare amount of times that it does happen, and it's just
a lot of kickers end up looking foolish. They try to do something like unique, and they end up like kicking it 3 yards
between the legs, behind the back, all
way
that
out of bounds.
all kind of crazy stuff.
The Falcons kicker, like young Loco, he was like a YouTube trick. He would like flip it up and kick it through the upright. It was cool.
He came from YouTube?
I think so. I know
Wow.
he has like a YouTube channel, and and he was doing all kinds of like trick shots and stuff. And it was funny because I've seen him miss extra points and stuff in the NFL. So it's like you can do all this crazy stuff, but
oh my God.
I've seen him, But that's just the pressure of the NFL. And, that's I like that they moved the extra point back a little. It's kind of cool.
When did that happen? Like.
It's 2 years ago, maybe.
2 years
I
ago?
know, like the year before that they made that, there was only 3 or 4 missed extra points all season. They're like, okay, this is just a layup at this point.
Yeah,
it's
not
fair.
fair.
Change something, like you can start on the 2 if you're going for 2, but if you're kicking the extra point, you're gonna go back a little bit. I think like next year there was at least double digits in missed extra points, so it was making a difference in games.
Yeah,
you know?
it
But,
gives them a challenge. And I saw people thought it was dumb. I'm like, no, it just makes it actually professional. That you can't just go up and just chip it. Like you can, I know like 20 people right now that can go and kick a 12-yard field goal. Whatever.
Now it's like a 30-something. It used to be like, it was way less.
And that should be a chip shot for pros.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean.
Then you bring the analytics into the game and stuff. You're seeing a lot more people go for 2, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever. I like it. I don't mind the change. I say bring on the change. Anything that makes the game like any more fun or exciting. Which is why I hate the whole taunting rule this year. It's just silly.
Taunting rule?
Yeah, so there's like a new rule. Basically, you can't like taunt the other players. Like say you got a first down, you got up and you like you know.
Oh, like what Tyreek Hill does with the deuces and all that? Oh,
throw flags on that this year. So they said that they won't come at the end zone celebrations as much, but they're gonna come at like the first down or you know, those type of leave it alone. It's fun. They call it the no fun league, you know. But like, they were kind of getting away from that, you know. They were kind of allowing the touchdowns. So I mean, now they're gonna go back. This rule's it's obscure. I don't. It's the timing. Like, was there like a call for this rule to be changed? Like, I've never heard a thing about it until the rule came out that it was changing or they were gonna call it. I'm like, I don't know. I'm for less flag, less stuff.
Exactly.
This with all the instant replay and review and stuff that goes on.
Daggum
like,
TV time. That's all they want. Commercials. That's all they want, dude. I'm telling you.
4-hour games like baseball. Like, no, we're gonna get power through these games. You know?
Yeah, like I'll be at the gym and I'll try and watch a game and I can't. Like I'll sit there on the treadmill or elliptical and just they'll have a TV and I'll sit there and try and watch it and I can't do a workout because the game is so daggum slow. Like I'd rather watch a high intensity game and focus on that instead of watching 16 commercials in between timeouts.
Yeah, the replays in all the sport, basketball, like, man, you know, in that last minute of basketball, which used to be like the best, most exciting part, it's like it just drains now. Like, whose pinky did it go off of? Just let the ref make the decision, and if he's wrong, he's wrong. But like 90% of the time, he's gonna be right. And just if it's wrong, you kind of just accept it and move on. It's like part of the game, you know.
Yeah, they didn't sign him for that game if they didn't trust him for that game.
For sure. Obviously, there's some other sketchy stuff.
Yeah.
Tim Donaghy and all that. But like, that's a whole nother story. That's on them.
We were talking about NFL and professional football. Let's talk about NFL starts on Thursday. Dallas and Tampa Bay. Who do y'all got?
Tampa. Especially, I just said that Zach Martin news. I don't know if y'all had heard that. It was like this morning or this afternoon that Schefter broke that, and that just like I was already taking Tampa.
Nail in the coffin.
I think that Dallas will still put up points. I mean, they have CeeDee Lamb, they got Zeke, they got a good line. Dak is an underrated quarterback. I don't think he's, the best quarterback in the NFL, but with the weapons, he's elite. I mean, you think of every team in the NFL would take Dak.
Yeah.
So they'll put up points, but that defense just really isn't great. No. They made a great draft pick. Who they did, Michael Parsons, and like you watch him in the preseason. I think his first half of his first game, he got like 10 tackles. He's a beast. Really? But he's not going to fix. He's not the fix-all. You need a couple of good drafts in a row.
Yeah, he's not a Devin White where he can just come in there and be a leader of a defense and just take over and win Super Bowls. But yeah, I always think it's every year that Dallas is either going to be good, they're going to be medium, they're going to be bad. It's never like one-sided for 2 or 3 years in a row. It's just. I don't know. It's always up and down, and that's what I hate the most about Dallas because my fiance's dad's a Dallas fan, and I always give him a hard time about it, just about how Dallas. You never know about Dallas, but yeah, I think Tampa Bay with every starter coming back, they're all vaccinated, so they're not going to have any issues there. So they're all going to be all together. Everybody's going to be in one building at one time. They're not going to have to worry about anything. If they get COVID, oh well, so be it, and just go from there. But one thing is Tom Brady, another year under his belt. When do y'all think he's going to start that decline? When do you think he's going to ever? Do y'all think he's ever going to decline, or he's just going to go out when he wants to?
42, believe.
Yeah.
He has 7 Super Bowls.
I mean, what more is there?
Just die on the field like a man.
I think he's 43. But it doesn't even matter.
No.
There's no decline. And if you watched, I think he didn't play a lot in the preseason, and it's always preseason. But there was one drive that he went on. I forget which game it was, but he hit Evans, he hit Godwin twice, he hit AB. It was disgusting. He was like 7 for 7 for 91 yards and a touchdown. I was like, well, there's no decline there.
It's not fair. That's what it is.
It's not.
Like, I swear to God, he has like performance-enhancing drug in his TB12 system.
Yeah, we'll find out something in TB12.
Yeah.
In 10 years, we'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe that was in that stuff.
Yeah,
But
like
it's really, he's defying time. And I'm like I said, I'm a Boston sports fan, and I was blessed with 20 years of Tom Brady as my quarterback. And no resentment here. Obviously, I moved down to Florida, so I got to continue watching him, which is cool.
he's literally, 2 hours from here?
Yeah, less, I think, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that's cool. I got to watch him here, and I was happy for him in Gronk.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, hell yeah. The Patriots kind of had a rough season, rough go of it. You know, Cam got off to a good start, and then COVID swept the rug out from under us. Like you said, Stidham was the next option. Brian Hoyer. We were in trouble. Good defense, you know, but they were in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you know, Brady. I don't know when it's going to happen. I feel like it's kind of inevitable. Like, you know, with Peyton Manning, it happened really quickly.
Yeah.
But he also had those neck surgeries, and his health started to decline. And Brady just seems as healthy as he's ever been. So,
I mean, he had what did he say? He had a torn MCL for the whole season?
last year.
I mean that's like, and nobody could tell. Nobody knew that he had a torn MCL until he said something.
He just sits back there and he kind of lets you beat yourself. He knows defenses so well. He waits for you to make a mistake and then he just jumps on it. You know, he's not going to beat you with his legs. He's just going to sit back, watch you, wait for you to make a mistake and then just shred you with it.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do it in the first half, and I've seen it so many times that the adjustments are made and he comes back and he's going to get you in the second half. So it's like if you beat Brady,
Joker's a genius.
It's crazy. It really is. He's like the perfect storm. I think you mix, Bill's genius with him and Bill's defensive genius, I think, really, carried over. And that's what, obviously Tom did a lot of work himself. It's not all Bill, but I think his mentorship as a defensive head coach really helped Tom learn defenses and learned how to beat them. And perfect it as much as anybody we've ever seen.
Yeah. But yeah, like one thing I remember a few months ago, whenever they passed the numbers rule, and he wasn't happy about that, just because I never took into consideration like what he was talking about, like with the numbers and like how linebackers have to wear 50s, and it's going to be more difficult for him to identify defenses.
It was like that for him. He would just look at the numbers, like, oh, boom,
exactly.
Like it's easy. Yeah,
and then like what you said, that he went 7 for 7, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then AB for a touchdown or whatever. Like he always finds a way to make it out of any situation he has, and that's what makes him the greatest of all time.
It's crazy. It really is. Even like the years that the Pats lost. There was a year we lost. I think it was the year that Manning won that Super Bowl. We were down that game. The Patriots played awful. They played terrible. And at the end of the game, it was like 20-12. Brady went zipping down the field, hit Gronk for a touchdown. They had to go for 2 because they were down 8, and they didn't get it. Even in those losses, it was like he almost pulled that ridiculous. They were down 8 with 2 minutes to go, drive off, and it's like when it wasn't like the Falcons when obviously the comeback happened. It's like even when he didn't, he made a run at it. He made the other team sweat for a minute. It's like I'll always miss him as the quarterback, and I feel bad for Mac Jones and whoever else has got to come fill the shoes because our expectations as fans through the roof. As there's just no way around it. You win 6 Super Bowls in 20 years, and it's like that's what the fans expect now. We might not get another one for 20 years. The reality of it. You look at a lot of these teams. Like the Bears, they haven't had one since what, 86?
86,
they finally just slipped. They got themselves a quarterback.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Like, you're a Chicago guy. What do you think of Justin Fields?
It's preseason, but his numbers look good. He was hitting his receivers. Red Rocket wasn't hitting his receivers. I think it's smart that Dalton is starting week 1 in Los Angeles because you're gonna scare a rookie. Yeah. That's what Jacksonville did. They traded away Minshew and they're starting a rookie when they don't have the O-line to do it. That's what sets New England apart is they have the O-line to start a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chicago doesn't have their O-line to protect a young kid who's going to get scared and hurt.
Yeah, like if the Niners decide to hand the keys over to Trey Lance, they got a line, But there's like you got Chicago, in Jacksonville, and yeah, they have the same problem. And I think that's why I'm really confident about Mac Jones. They kind of have like a perfect situation for a rookie quarterback, where really solid defense, solid front seven, good secondary. Even without Gilmore, I know the Pats going to be without him for like 6 weeks, I think. They put him on the pup list, but they still have J.C. Jackson and Jonathan Jones, and they brought in Jalen Mills from Philly. So like the secondary is fine, the defense is fine, the offensive line can protect him. There's a couple of stud tight ends now in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, so those little quick dump offs, really good running back group, and young. James White's the veteran, but they drafted Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson over the last couple. So like they got a bunch of pieces around him that will protect him. I think like it's not. They won't ask so much out of him. I think, like you said, if they decide to go to Fields now, or if Jacksonville has some weapons, but without that offensive line, you're asking rookie quarterbacks to do a lot.
Yeah.
Like you really want them to process things one at a time. And when the line can't protect him at NFL speed, you're gonna shake him. Like Sam Darnold a couple years ago when he was seeing ghosts. Like that's what happens to these quarterbacks.
Oh my goodness,
that's what happens to him.
I was seeing ghosts, coach. What? That was a joke for like 3 weeks.
No, it was the best. I'm telling you, the Pats Jets rivalry has created some great ones. That was one, and then of course the butt fumble. That was classic. There's just been some classic.
What was that guy's name?
Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez. I was thinking Sam something. But yeah, like you said, rookie quarterbacks, you're asking them a lot. And people who know football know, like, when they're coming out of high school, that's a big transition to go from high school to college, because people don't realize how more in-depth that offense is. Like, I don't care what offense you run in high school, a college offense is going to be
and every guy, like, when you look at, like, the SEC or these top conferences, every guy on the roster was the best player where he came from, in Alabama or
they're all the real deal,
like they're the best player where they come from. You don't go to Alabama unless you're the top dog. So like you said, you played against the kid from Alabama and he was ridiculous.
Oh my god! Yeah.
But when you see that type of talent, you recognize it, and those are the type of programs they go to. So that's where the turnover. It's like Mac Jones is gone, Devonta Smith is gone. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we still win by 5 touchdowns.
It's like. It's one thing to have a lot of talent on your team, but it's another thing to have a lot of talent that works together for the same purpose. Like, if you were to...
That's a good point.
Yeah, if you were to just put a bunch of talent on one team, just like what Jimbo Fisher does with all of his... Like, he recruit him, who is at Texas. They all do insane recruiting. You don't see them in the top 10. Like, Jimbo Fisher, he had Jameis Winston and all those teams, and he won a national championship. But like you don't see those teams doing it now. Like Georgia, they do high recruiting, and you see them like they have an insane defense. But that's like years of recruiting. That's not just like all freshmen, sophomores. And those are like people who come in, buy in, have a program together that they know that they all have the same goal and one common purpose to win a national championship. And just like I said, you can do all this recruiting, but if you just have all this talent who have egos or just like don't care, just want to do their own thing, just think that they're going to go sign some big deal now with the NIL and just get an insane amount of money and just go to college and slack off and do whatever. But I mean, like you gotta really buy into a program, and I think that's what makes Alabama, Dabo Swinney, and Clemson. Georgia, Florida, all these teams, and I'm listing off basically SEC teams, but it's like
it is what it is.
It's like teams all around the country. Like if you're ranked, you're really gonna have to, like if you're a nationally ranked team, that means you have a program and you're buying in, and you got people that are there like for real, and like they're there for the long haul. They're there to be there for whatever happens. They don't care if they lose 10 games. They don't care if they win 20. Like, they're there to be for real and just...
Yeah, you build that reputation. In Alabama's case, it's a national championship reputation. So it's like year after year. And at this point, they don't really have to recruit. Like, the program sells itself. You know? But some of these other programs are out, like you said, trying to just get the best group of players together and not actually try to build a system. And I think that's more important. Like, find what it is that you want to do and get guys that are good at doing that type of thing. Do you want to have a scrambling quarterback? Do you want to have a pocket quarterback? And then like build that and then keep it going. You know, instead of trying to just grab the best player all it doesn't work that way. You start grabbing these guys and you put them in a system that doesn't really fit their brand of play or whatever, and they fail. You know?
Yeah.
So, but some of these, you know, like to this point, I saw a video of it. They've been a joke for a few years now, but UConn football. I saw a video on Twitter of their coach, and he's in the middle, he's screaming, trying to fire everybody up, but he puts his hand up, and like all the guys are like, yeah. It's like, and that's why UConn football is UConn football. There's nobody buying into the program. No. Nobody. They're there for a scholarship or whatever it is.
Go watch girls basketball.
Yeah, exactly. It's a basketball school and a girls basketball school for sure. But the men's basketball got a couple of national chips. They got Dead Kemba. Kemba was the last one. I think.
Yeah.
Before that, Jim Calhoun. They had a hell of a program for a while. But yeah, the women's program is second to none.
Oh my God.
Every year, pretty much.
What's her name? Brianna Stewart. That girl was insane. I didn't watch much girls basketball, but I just watched her because that girl, she dominated any game she played.
It feels like this, like every year or two, you get these players, these girls that are coming out that are really getting a lot of play on ESPN. So like I saw Sabrina Ionescu was like really close with Kobe Bryant, and she's like really close with his family. And I think she went to Oregon. She was a Duck, I think, but she was ridiculous. She dominated college ball, and then before that, it was all like Maya Moore, and it was UConn products year after year after year. But yeah, it's cool to see them from the other schools, and it's cool to see like, you know, women's basketball taking off a little bit. It's been dragging for a little while, and I think it's good to see it. I know like the NBA's helped pick up the slack for a few years and stuff like that, but it is good to see like girls are starting to watch it, and like girls basketball's taking off a little more. That's good. That's a good sign.
Absolutely.
There's stars. That's what you need that's like first case is once you have some stars, then you have like, you know, these girls coming up playing basketball are seeing it, you know, like, okay, I could be like her. I can, you know, go play in the Olympics and get a gold medal. And so it's cool. You know, it was cool to see them. They dominated the Olympics. They were much less of a story than the men's team. The men's team made it. Oh my God! Made it interesting. They won the gold, but they made it interesting. But the women's team just straight through. It's
because half the NBA is daggum all over the world now. So it's like you got people in the USA, and then you got people that are like you got Luka. Yeah, where does Luka play? Slovenia. Like you got Luka.
Spain puts together a hell of a roster. They've had the Gasol brothers for years, and they've had NBA players that contribute, you know, and there's been a lot of international players like Manu Ginobili, and there's some Australian players, you know, that have Ben Simmons who's coming in. So and Dirk. So like some of these players, the international thing, basketball's gotten a lot more international over the past, like, you know, you think from like the Dream Team, 92, it was all USA. People would want pictures with Team USA. They knew they were going to get blown out of the stadium. And now, you know, there's like 4 or 5 countries that have a pretty good team. They're not putting out what we just put out with Dame and Tatum. And they're not putting out guys like that, but they have a good team. And like same as college football, they have a system, you know, and they play together for years. So, and like, you know, the Team USA is always just a group of individuals. Like, you go. There's no real system. Like, you know, it's hard to get those guys with these massive egos to play together. Usually you should only have 2 or 3 of them, and then the rest will be role players who do what they're supposed to. But, you know, when you look at a guy like Tatum's ridiculous. He was a role player on that team. He was like, he ended up finding his role and carving it out as the 6th man, you know, but it's like, it's definitely hard to get these guys. You got coaches. Coach K always did well for a year, and Coach Pop did it this year. Yeah. But it's tough, man. You gotta have a big ego to control those egos, you know. So and Coach K was that, and Pop is that for sure. They garner the respect, and, you know. But still, those are 14, 15 like massive superstars, max contract guys. Yeah. You know, so
I think like teams like that, like I was saying, buying into a program. I think it's harder with basketball. Just because, like, you can have one guy, because it's only 10 people on the court. So if you just got like one guy that's out there just dominating the entire time, it's easier to have a team circle around one guy instead of like 10 guys surrounding one program. I think in basketball, that's what I've always thought. It's like, I think, like with football, obviously it's a lot harder. You could have a quarterback, but you got to have a line to support that quarterback, running back, receivers. With basketball, you can have maybe a center that'll set a pick and roll for you, but really, as long as you can step back and make a 3, you can win a game
for sure.
Really, and I think that's a big difference between
there's other roles, you know, like you get like your Dennis Rodmans, and like this guy could make an impact on a game by getting 0 points. You know?
Exactly.
And that's it's interesting about Paul. He'd have 0 points and 18 boards. You know, it's like, oh my god, and there's a huge impact on the game defensively and stuff like that. And I think that's definitely lost on the modern NBA too. Is that defense like? And I don't want to be like, oh, the NBA's soft now, and I don't want to be one of those guys. But just like talking about it logistically, like the rules have changed.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not the players' fault. It's just the league.
The league changed a lot. And I know that they're changing that ticky-tack move where if you're trying to draw the foul, you throw your leg up. They're going to start calling that. So I think that'll help a little bit. But it's just less common for like some of these NBA stars. Like obviously LeBron is a good defensive player, and one of his most famous plays is the block. And, but you look at guys like Harden and you know, Kyrie's a guard, so it's hard to throw. Or it's Steph Curry, they're guards. But there's no defense. Those guys are they're liabilities. And Harden shouldn't be. Harden, you know,
he's what 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah, I don't understand.
Like, and I've seen like flashes of greatness of defense from Harden, and I think he's picked it up the last couple of years.
It's an effort thing. It's got to be. I think that defense is like in basketball is a lot of that. Like, are you willing to put in the effort? That's why guys like Jordan, he was like a psycho out there. You know,
oh my god,
dig in every possession, and that's why he was so good on D. I don't think it was like. I mean, obviously he could jump out of the gym and whatever, but I think it was mostly effort. He just wanted to win more than anybody, so he was digging in every possession.
Yeah, you didn't see a lot of people getting scoring championships and defensive player of the years.
It's crazy. He's got to be the only one. There might be another one.
He's the only one I know.
He's got to be the only one. I've definitely never seen another one because it's such a unique. The defensive player of the year award's always been kind of a unique type of thing. Like I remember Ron Artest or Meta World Peace. Where, I remember him winning it, but he was never a scorer. Like you know, he was okay, but he was always just a defensive guy. It's like a Ben Wallace, I think, won defensive player of the year one year. It's always or Marcus Smart's up for the award. Like they're players that aren't like your marquee superstars. That, you know, it's a unique skill, and you just don't see it. Like I said, a lot of these like big superstars just. Not known for their deep. Russell Westbrook, any of them. There's just not a lot of DB played out there. Yeah. And you see games that are 130 to 128, and it's like back in the 90s Bulls era. What were those final scores? 98, 94.
Yeah, 80, 85, 86. Yeah.
Nobody scored 100 on Chicago back then. So they scored when they had to, and just timely scoring and good D. That's how they won. But you don't see teams take over defensively. The bad boy Pistons won titles like that back in the day where they. Didn't I mean Isaiah was a good scorer obviously, but they just like defense teams to death pretty much. They out rebound them and just like just catch them cold for 8 straight minutes, no buckets. It's just it's hard to win that way. The other team goes on a 12-0 run, you catch yourself down 20 points. Yeah, it's tough to come back from that.
Yeah, y'all got anything else? Anything else?
I mean, Olympics wise, the NHL's a lot back in the Winter Olympics.
Saw that. I'm excited about that for sure.
NHL. I'm not an NHL.
You're not a hockey guy.
Yeah, I'm not a hockey guy, so I don't know much.
Yeah, well, I'm not. We're from marquee hockey towns.
Yeah.
Chicago and Boston, like you got the original 6, the Blackhawks, the Bruins. They won 3 cups.
In 5 years.
In 5 years. We've won a cup and we've been to 3 in the past 10 years. So like, it's like prime time, and Chicago's making another run.
Trying to.
Same with the Bruins. They're trying to make a final run. So yeah, that's probably why the hockey thing runs deep.
Yeah, I'm a Florida guy, and they just won this year. So.
Yep. 2 in a row, back to back, man. I'll tell you.
Those don't count.
That's all I know. I don't know much about NHL.
It's a good thing to throw out there because Tampa's. They might win another one next year. I know
you
they
think
lost
so?
a couple players, but that team is just as like their core.
Yeah, they still
ridiculous.
got the Russian mafia.
Exactly.
Are they all like players that have been there a while? Like they're all
Pretty
vets.
much. Yeah, they built a core. So they had Stamkos, I think, the captain. He's been there the longest. But then
Kuch.
Exactly, Kucherov and
Vasilevsky, their goalie.
They just they're loaded. They really are. They're a team that's going to be. I'm a Bruins fan, and I want to say that I think we could beat them next year. But Tampa, I think he's got to be fair. They're just loaded, man. They really are. They just on the back end. You need a goalie. Just on the back end, their forwards are loaded. They're going to be tough for sure. But that, I feel like I'm going to start hyping up because football is right now. I'll start hyping up for the NHL in like a month, so maybe 3 weeks in a month. I'll be really getting geared up. But no, this has been cool. I'm glad we'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. Yeah, like just looking at sports throughout the week and just recapping it on a weekend and just sitting
especially with football right now, man. Every it's Sunday, and I would assume that like this would be more like a Monday type thing because you have we could like look forward to the Monday game and all that stuff that happens Saturday and Sunday.
Absolutely.
Fresh. So that'd be cool. It's like the perfect time of year for it because football's the best.
Yeah, that's my bread and butter is football, and then basketball a little bit. But I mean, like MLB and NHL and all that other sports, those are you guys.
The baseball season's way too long.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to do a podcast
We're
for
in
a
that
baseball.
final stretch now, and it's just like the games are just starting to get a little more intense for the Sox or some of these other teams in contention, like the Sox, Yankees, the Rays. Who, man, sadly, I just did a story on this. Man, the Rays are like real World Series contenders, and like
no fans.
Nobody cares, man. They had like the lowest attendance for a single game like 2 weeks back
5,000.
First place over the Red Sox and Yankees.
Yeah,
it's sad, man. Yeah, and like, do you think, man, Tampa Bay, they won back-to-back Stanley Cups. They just won a Super Bowl. And you think fans would be like, all right, let's get a World Series now? Like, for whatever reason, like they just don't care about the Rays. It's kind of sad because like I kind of care about the Rays. I'm a Red Sox fan. They're like a rival, but like because of their lack of fandom, I'm like, man, I'd much rather them win than the Yankees or one of these other big, of course the Yankees, but one of these other big teams like the Dodgers or whatever. Like, I'd much rather see Tampa win. Maybe that would get some fans. I don't really go to like professional games. I wish I did more often, but the one MLB game that I've ever went to is the Mets and the Rays, and it was in New York. I was gonna say in New York.
In New York,
I went to the Trop.
So it was fun.
2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago because the Red Sox were in town. The Rays beat them pretty good too, but even still, like the Rays are in first place over the Sox, and I'm not gonna say.
I was about to say, didn't they just get? Oh no, the Dodgers just got first place. That's what I saw.
They took over the Giants.
Yeah.
I thought it was tied still.
Tampa's been in control for like a month still. But yeah, I went to the game, and just like when I lived in Seattle, it was like 50-50. Sox, Rays fans. I'm like, you guys are in first place. Like, I should be getting heckled with this shirt on. But no, people really, they wouldn't,
Yeah.
They kind of just, they're a little friendly about it. It's like, I know at Fenway, if you see an opposing team, it's a rare occasion to get heckled. So it's like, I just feel bad. Some of these cities, obviously they just don't have the history that some of these cities do. I was lucky, seriously. Like, it's why I'm a diehard sports fan. But growing up in Boston, it's like, there's sports everywhere and people love it. Like there's even when the teams are bad, like there's fans showing up. And,
they don't care. They're just there for a good time.
For sure.
All right. Well, I think that is a wrap on this week. Obviously, like he said, we're gonna try and go over like just a recap of sports for the week. We're just gonna sit here, relax, and talk about sports, college football, NFL, all that kind of stuff. And we're gonna probably do it on like Mondays, and then I'll edit it, and I'll probably get this out here in a couple days, just because I've already gotten all my school done. And I just have free time.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna try and keep doing this, try and keep this going, and if not, then you can butcher us in the comments, or you can butcher me. Y'all can text me and just say, Zach, you suck. You need to stop being so lazy and post more. I'm like, well, shoot. I guess you're right. I'm not doing nothing. But yeah, me and him are roommates, and then they're in the same classes together, so it's kind of easy to get us all together.
Yeah, we should be able to make it happen. I live right around the corner. So.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, well then that just makes it even more. So everybody who's listening right now, if y'all don't see me post, then text me.
I'll bully him.
Yeah, bully me. Do whatever you got to do. I need it. I need that motivation. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna try and keep this going. Hopefully, on the next week, we'll talk about more NFL and college football. I know today was predominantly football, but that's just because that's the big thing right now, especially with coming back from COVID and all that stuff. But thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week.
This is Sport Talk
with your host, Zach Mason.